important role, not in terms of religion, but socially speaking, and culturally, and even politically. And I'm saying this because if Jerusalem maintains a certain status, cultural, religious, or social, and even political, this depends to a great extent of the Patriarchate here. Why? Because the Patriarchate of Jerusalem, as you know, it is autonomous, autocephalous, it is a totally ecclesiastical, independent institution, right? And has its own rules and its own laws. And of course, it is part and parcel of the ecumenical Orthodox Church. Now, I've said that the Patriarchate plays an important role in here. Why? Because the Patriarchate has been the inheritor of a great heritage, both spiritual, cultural, and physical heritage. The spiritual and cultural heritage is the fact that the Church derives from the Judaism, right? So it was in here that the Church emerged, and this is how the Church later was developed and expanded all over the world. Now this is the spiritual heritage. Now there is another heritage which is the physical one. And the physical one is that until the 7th century, there were here the Byzantines, right? So the whole area of the Middle East, and especially Jerusalem and Palestine at the time, was under the Byzantine political jurisdiction, right? Now, since the Arab coming here in the Holy Land, I mean, beginning of 8th century, 7th century, the whole atmosphere and the landscape here, the political and the cultural, totally changed, right? Because we have the Arab presence and the Islamic expansion even in this Holy Land. Now, since the time, the Patriarchate is left alone. I mean, is totally no more dependent on the Byzantine rule, Byzantine emperors of Constantinople, but the Patriarchate takes its leadership on his own, and the Patriarch of Jerusalem emerges as both as the ethnic, the national, and the religious leader, right? And this is how the Patriarch of Jerusalem, the famous great church leader and great diplomat of politics, Sophronius of Jerusalem, St. Sophronius, this is how he met with the then Arab Khalif successor of Muhammad, and they signed the famous treaty, the famous agreement, which is known as the Ahd al-Omari, the Treaty of Omar ibn Khattab. So since that time, a new phase of history started for the Patriarchate of Jerusalem, and this is how the Patriarchate, as I've said, became an inheritor of the physical heritage. And the physical heritage is the famous Constantinian churches, buildings, and monasteries that were built over above the sites, I mean the places that are related to personalities or to the events mentioned by the Bible. And when I say the Bible, sorry, I mean both Old Testament and New Testament. This is how the Patriarchate emerges here as a state within a state. And when I say this, I mean that the Patriarchate jurisdiction covers the state of Israel, the Palestinian territories, the Palestinian autonomy, and of course the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, and today some of the Emirates, because Saudi Arabia and certain Emirates, Gulf states, actually, spiritually speaking, ecclesiastically, come under the jurisdiction of the Patriarchate of Jerusalem. Now, if Jerusalem maintains and enjoys certain character, the way that you are going to visit and see and experience, this this is thanks to the Patriarchate here. If it wasn't for the Patriarchate, forget about the Christian character of Jerusalem, right? Especially of the old city. I'm saying this because you know that the heart of the well-known regional and world conflict, which is between Israelis and Palestinians, and at the end of the day between Islam and Judaism, right? I would put it like this. The heart of this conflict is not political, it's not military, it's not economical, it is purely religious. Because everything ends up in Jerusalem. And when we say in Jerusalem, ends up in the old city. And when we talk about the old city, we talk about holy place common to Christianity, to us, to Judaism, and of course to Islam. And this is the Temple Mount, or Solomon's Temple, right? So everything ends up in there, which means the core of the conflict is religious, and the solution of the conflict at the end of the day has to come from with the participation and the help and assistance of religious leadership. Today, I mean, everybody is aware of what is going on locally, regionally, internationally. Everywhere there are problems, everywhere there are conflicts, right? And in my understanding, coming to your case, the conflict there also is religious, cultural. But when you say cultural, the culture that we share here, it's a culture that has been shaped and formed by own faith, by own religion, by own religious affiliation. Yes or no? And this is why you have real problems there in Serbia, I mean with Kosovo and Metohija, etc. And then also your problem is with Islam.
Always, there is one symbolic thing that I would like to emphasize, and it's a good forum here in front of our young friends, as something that indicates what is actually going on in our region. As you know, Bosnia and Herzegovina is consisted of two entities, one of which is our entity, the Republic of Srpska. And during the years after the war, many decisions, even lawfully done, were actually imposed by high representatives of the international community. One of them was about the constitution status of three peoples of Bosnia and Herzegovina in whole territory of the country. Meaning that once when we made the peace treaty, Dayton Treaty, there was one entity shared by the Bosniaks, or actually Bosnian Muslims, and the Croats, and the other one ours, the Serb entity, the Republic of Srpska. Later on, during the period of peace, but actually that was a kind of continuation of certain war efforts, but in another different means, the constitutiveness of all three constitutive peoples were imposed to the whole territory of the Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, namely, in this case, of the Republic of Serbska. Now, here we got a high official from the city of Banja Luka, and only last week we had a decision made by the Constitutional Law Court of the Republic of Serbska, which stated that the symbol the seal of a certain local community, county of Vlasenica, is not constitutional. Now, why am I raising this? It is exactly following your idea, the chain of your thought, when you said that at the end of the day, at the bottom line, it's religion. You can impose everything, you can force almost on everything, but at the end of the day, those that are not wishing us well have actually identified the religious factor as the most Stonehenge, the most central one in our identity. Now, what was actually the part of the seal of that specific county or local community of Vlasenica? It was one of the monasteries or churches of the monastery on their territory. Now, very soon also the city of Banja Luka will have a similar problem, because there are tens of such counties and municipalities which have religious, purely religious symbols on their seals. I think that it is very obvious what I try to say. You know, if there is no truly sincere wish to settle certain conflict, but then any compromise is actually only the start point of further requests on, this case is something that is much, much more than symbol. So unfortunately, I just wanted, you know, diplomatic and statehood matters we are always sharing with you, with the head of our office, Mr. Livne, that of course send you his best regards.
He celebrates his 19th.
Exactly. And our duty.
The role and the importance of religion that is playing today, and that how religion, at the end of the day, is the one that defines new borders and forms new states, etc. So, addressing the young people here, that definitely they are indirectly or directly under the influence of the so-called globalization, which is a very powerful stream, and the influence is irresistible. And most of the young people, they are really under the influence of this powerful stream, and they get confused because they cannot have a clear understanding of what is going on, and finally, who is ruling this world, right? And I just to draw their attention that religion should not be marginalized or considered as something background, especially our faith, our Orthodox faith, because we as Orthodox people, we have a great heritage, and the great heritage is something that is, it combines Judaism, Hellenism, and then you have the Orthodox faith, the Orthodox mind, which is the most liberal, and I mean this what I'm saying, and the most free mind, right? And the most inclusive. It is only the Orthodox Church that really embodies the gospel, the words of Jesus Christ, and this is the church of the cross, is the church of the resurrection. And why I'm saying this? because in the Orthodox Church, metaphysics have no place. Speculation, inventiveness has no place in the Orthodox Church. In all other religions, somehow, even in the other Christian churches, Roman Catholic Protestants, speculation is there, inventiveness is there, but not in the Orthodox Church. And another thing is that in the Orthodox Church there is forgiveness, something that there is no in other religions, right? Which forgiveness means you have the power to overcome, to surpass yourself, and to embrace and to love even your enemy. So only in the Orthodox Church you can really discover these tenets, these values, right? And therefore I'm challenging you to try to discover the treasure of what we have as Orthodox Church, as Orthodox people, if we really want, first of all, to protect our national and cultural and linguistic, whatever implies to identity, right? And if we want also to help our fellow men and women, our fellow human beings, right? This is how this Patriarchate has survived throughout the 2000 years of history. I mean, our relationship with Muslims, with Arabs, with Jews, everybody is crystal clear, is excellent. Why? Because the mission of the Patriarchate has been always purely religious, spiritual. It's a mission that proclaims the love of Christ. It proclaims the therapy and the healing of our human predicament. So it is within this frame that the Patriarchate has managed to survive all those years of turbulence. Our relations with the Arabs in the past was not rosy, right? There were bloodshed was thrown here, but we managed. Yeah. But we have managed to remain the way we are and to enjoy great respect and trust by everybody, and today to be a real bridge of enemies, of people that they cannot get together. And we are not just a bridge, we are more than that. And this is what is our mission, and this is what we are doing here. And this is why, again, I'm saying that the Patriarchate here enjoys great respect by friends and enemies, right? Because the way to deal with enemies is through the power of love, but the love of Christ. Thank you.
Znači druga polovina, samo neki mi čučnu malo. Pogledajte vam.